bonds are woefully mispriced. Yields need to be much higher. Prices need to be much lower. Stocks are overpriced. Their multiples are too high. The US dollar is dramatically overpriced because it's going to lose a tremendous amount of its purchasing power over time, and therefore it should have a much lower exchange rate than the one it has right now. It also means that gold and silver prices are much too low, because right now gold is priced for a world where there is no inflation, where inflation has been vanquished by a tough Federal Reserve that is committed to ridding the economy of inflation. When the markets realize that that's not the case, that the Fed is going to choose inflation as the lesser evil, because that's the choice. Do we have a massive economic collapse, financial crisis, depression, waves of defaults and bankruptcies, or do we tolerate higher inflation? The Fed already made that deal with the devil, and it's going to keep its commitments. We're going to have higher inflation. The markets just need to come to terms with that and price it into assets. And of course, it also means a huge decline in the American standard of living, because I think the recognition of this reality is going to be the final nail in the dollar's coffin. It's going to cause it to lose its status as the world's reserve currency. And so Americans are not going to be able to exchange the money that we print for the goods everybody else produces. We're going to have to live within our means. And those means have been greatly diminished during the years that we've been able to run these massive trade deficits and outsource all of our manufacturing. We've gotten a small taste of those supply channel bottlenecks recently. Well, we're going to get a full helping of it later once the dollar plunges and we really see how much we depend on global supply chains. But again, to wrap this up, when it comes to individual investors, right, we need to take advantage of this situation. You know, I have been preparing and helping my clients prepare for this for over a decade. And the only thing that surprised me is that we've been able to kick the can down the road for as many years as we have. But everything else that's happened is what I predicted. It's just taking place on a longer time scale than I would have imagined over a decade ago. But be that as it may, we're here. And the fact that we were able to kick the can down the road for as many years as we did just made the problems much worse. The bubble has grown much larger during the years of can kicking. And as a result, the collapse is much greater. It means that investors stand to lose a lot more purchasing power if they don't understand what's going to happen and modify their portfolios to account for this. And it also means that the investors who do make those changes are going to make even greater profits, I believe, as a result, because the bigger the bubble, the more air there is to come out. And the more air that comes out of the bubble, I think the more profits that the people make who bet against that bubble. And so that's what we're doing at Europe Pacific Asset Management with our strategies. But I think for people who want to speculate and who are willing to assume a higher degree of risk, and that's always the case when you're investing in gold and silver mining companies, I think those assets are among the most mispriced assets in the market, because if inflation drives the price of gold up to 5,000 or 10,000, the markets currently assume that the price of gold is going to stay at 1,800 or lower into the indefinite future. I think the markets are wrong. But more importantly, not only will a much higher price of gold relative to the cost of mining it really help earnings of these gold mining companies, but it's going to cause a lot of gold that markets currently assign a zero value to all of a sudden have incredible value. Because if a gold mining company has gold and it costs $2,000 to get that gold out of the ground, and you don't think the price is going above 1,800, that gold is worthless. It costs more to mine it than you can get by selling it. But that whole dynamic changes. What if the price of gold goes up to 5,000 and the cost of mining it goes up to 3,000? You know, now you have $2,000 value for every ounce in the ground, and now that value is now going to be factored in to the price of these stocks. So I think you have tremendous opportunity in that segment of the market. For those of you who don't want to take as much risk, I think you can also protect yourself with our other investment strategies that invest in value-oriented companies outside the United States, companies that pay good dividends, companies that sell products and provide services that people need.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.